You're listening to TC Talks on TNT.
Welcome back to TC Talks. I'm your host, TC, and I just want to let you know I am running it back. I don't even know how many times it is at this point. It has been absolutely tasking to try to do this. At first, I was like, I don't like the way my hair looks. And then the next thing you know, I don't like the way my voice looks. I'm going to go ahead and edit this microphone a little bit and see if I could get it up to snuff. And then I was like, I don't like the lighting in this. And then I was like, 20-minute video. Nobody's going to watch that. So here we are. We're running it back yet again for you guys. And I'm sorry for the long intro, but we'll get to it really quickly. Giveaway at 25 subscribers. So go ahead and make sure you're subscribed and make sure you turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our videos and or that opportunity to miss that gift card. So make sure you subscribe and look out for that news in our community section. But without further ado, let's dive into the video for today. So those Chicago Bears seems like the season should be done and over with. And I'll get to that in a second. But coming off a rough loss against the Atlanta Falcons, in which Justin Fields got hurt. And it is due to that injury, due to the fact that Justin Fields was not able to properly throw a ball, it seemed like, at the end of the game. They should just cancel the season. And I don't mean that literally. What I mean is Trevor Siemian should get the opportunity to go out there and throw the pigskin around, let him live his childhood glory days once again and run it back for the Chicago Bears. Just let him finish the season because Justin Fields, let's be honest, he proved he's good enough to be the starter next year. Okay. I'll admit it. But he's also proven he's a little reckless. And with that recklessness, you don't want the end of this season to be the last season of Justin Fields. Justin Fields, I feel like, is playing just as aggressive as he is because he feels like he needs to. The offensive line is bad because the offensive line is bad. The passing game is bad because the passing game, teams are able to stack the box and try to slow the running game. And it's kind of started to slow the running game a little bit, despite the Bears are the number one rushing team in the NFL, but that's because of Justin Fields and his ability to run with the ball in the passing game and be able to pick up those scrambling yards. So it's really all full circle. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy almost. You're bad at passing, so you're bad at running, but you're good at running because you're bad at passing. It's kind of weird. It all flows for the Bears somehow, but it somehow does not translate to wins. It's because of that passing game, really. But I don't want to seem like I'm still blaming Justin Fields. I think he does deserve some criticism in this, but at this point, I want to focus on the two biggest criticisms. Okay. First thing is play calling. Play calling is absolutely terrible. I don't know what's going on in Chicago with the play calling. Okay. Especially at the end of the game. Maybe they were like, Justin's hurt, but he wants to finish out the game. So we'll let him try by giving him these running plays that we tell him, hey, just get down, slide, don't even worry about it. Something like that. That would be my guess, honestly, because I mean, that throw at the end, it was just like, get rid of that ball, whatever. I don't even care. That's what it seemed like to me. My boss, the boss is the host of the Esco Let's Go show on Power 106 in Rockford. So if you're listening out there, make sure you tune in, or you can go ahead and check out power106.com. I'm pretty sure that you're able to stream their music from their website, if I'm not mistaken, which I rarely am. Don't look at my predictions. But in either case, the Chicago Bears, the play calling has been questionable a lot. And it's not just this past week, not just in those final few minutes, but the fact that Justin Fields has so many designed quarterback runs. He should not be running this much. I know it's like usually 8, maybe 11 is the max, I think I've heard, but overall, I feel like that's a little high. Why? Because guess what? He's going to run about 8 more times, through scrambling. He's going to run from the pocket to avoid being sacked, to extend plays, to try to pick up first downs. It's all going to happen regardless if you intend for it to happen. Okay? So these quarterback runs are pointless. You want to throw 1 or 2 in a quarter, okay, sure. I really don't want it to be 2 a quarter because that's a little excessive. But if you want to have those moments where Justin Fields is going to try to exploit the defense, especially if you're talking like, trying to get into scoring situations, maybe trying to get a last second field goal or something like that, I could see that. But, don't be doing it as often as you're doing. Like 8 times just feels excessive, especially when you factor in, like I said, the scrambling, because he's going to go out there and he's going to move. All right. Just don't do it. And you see the price being paid. Justin Fields gets hurt at the end of the game. And I'm not saying it's just because he's running around, because he is getting hit in the backfield too. But You got to factor that in. You got to recognize that this dude is literally getting beat on all game, whether he's in the pocket or scrambling, and you need to take that into consideration. You need to notice that your quarterback is getting too many hits, and you should not allow him to keep taking them. You need to recognize that you got two meaty running backs. I know Khalil Herbert's out this game, but you got a meaty running back in David Montgomery who has no problem lowering that shoulder and picking up 5 rough yards. Why you have Justin Fields trying to do that himself, I have no idea. It is unacceptable. But it's not just the play calling that's an issue for me. It's also the fact that the Bears have so much potential and they're wasting it. Like back to back weeks, Justin Fields, in his own mind, it just plays himself out of the chance for a victory. And then on defense, it seems like they know what they're doing, but they don't at the exact same time because it seems like they're able to get a stop. They're really great. It's fantastic. Against Atlanta, they come out after giving up a touchdown and they get a turnover. They get multiple turnovers throughout the game, but somehow still find a way to be so bad. Like, what is going on? They will give up 27 points, but they'll get 2 turnovers. They'll make it a tough game for them defensively, but they will just get steamrolled at times. I mean, it is nice to hear Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker's names as much as we have in recent weeks, but why isn't anybody else stepping up? Why isn't anybody else making the most of their opportunity? Now, I understand, you're saying, well, TC, they have a whole training camp to prove themselves. They have a whole preseason to prove themselves. It is week 11 at this point. Nobody is going to be making that mark. That is ish. Okay. I understand that there are certain times that, maybe you just aren't the guy, so to speak, but you're telling me on a 53-man roster, there is nobody else who is able to rise to the occasion. There is nobody there that is going to be able to wow coaches. That's just what's been blowing my mind is like, what did they do with all these guys that are on the bench? How bad are these guys on the bench? And I guess based off the product on the field, they got to be pretty freaking bad, right? Because otherwise, what is going on? That is exactly the issue that I have with this team is yes, there are building blocks, but it doesn't seem like anything is being built. It seems like you have all the construction material, but there's no true end goal with the construction project. Like, yeah, you want to be able to win, but what does that mean? You want to build a football team, but how do you do that? What are you trying to do exactly? And I feel like it's just really hard to see it with a bigger picture right now for the Chicago Bears. I mean, yes, we're at a point in the season where there is no active trading, so this is just a set team, but still the team itself, like who is gonna try to prove that they are supposed to be here? I don't really see that, and especially with the defense being stripped down to bare bones, you would think that some of these younger guys would be like, "All right, this is my time to shine," and it just hasn't been the case, and, you know, I hate to bring Justin Fields back up yet again, but that has been the biggest letdown of the season is Justin Fields being put in a situation where he can win the game for Chicago and he doesn't do it. All right. And I'm not going to include this past week. I see so many people from this past Sunday saying, how did the Bears not be able to get at least into overtime with Justin Fields? Well, Justin Fields was hurt. That's how. Justin Fields isn't going to be able to take you down the field with one arm. Just not going to happen. Maybe some quarterbacks can do that, but Justin Fields needing to utilize his legs, needing to throw the ball to, just not going to happen, especially with the tools that he has. Not going to get the job done. However, if you do want to say last week against the Detroit Lions, how did he not get into field goal range? Sure, that's a conversation we can have. But overall, Justin Fields needs to be able to get the job done against these teams. And I get Atlanta was different, but there's no reason that Detroit should have been a loss. No reason. And anybody trying to say, oh, it's okay. No, it's not. Okay. That organization had not won a road game in 11 games. And the last team that they beat, the Chicago Bears. That makes you a laughing stock of an organization. That gives teams the ability to laugh at you. It gives them something to latch onto when they say you're not good enough. When the national media doesn't really like to cover Chicago, they'll cover the Chargers, even though they're a mediocre team. They'll cover the Rams, even though they're a mediocre team. They'll cover the Cowboys, even though they are a good team. I'll give them that. But they will cover the Green Bay Packers still, even though they're just as bad, a game better than the Chicago Bears. And that's just the fact of the matter is Chicago needs to go out there and they need to earn that respect. They can't have these terrible losses to these bad teams. They need to start getting into that winning culture. And anybody who's saying that Justin Fields doesn't need to worry about winning, what are you talking about? You need to worry about the winning is the only thing that matters in the National Football League. Nobody cares about your heart that you had during the regular season. They care about you taking home that Super Bowl ring. Nobody cares about how much toughness you have if that toughness doesn't translate to a win every week. Okay? It's just the fact of the matter is heart and soul and compassion and all those intangibles are important, but the biggest intangible that matters is a win. Period. And that takes me to my last point, the coaching situation. The coaches need to do a better job of instilling a winning culture in this team. For Matt Eberflus to go out there after the game and basically blame Cairo Santos, who has been perfect outside of that one miss this whole season for the loss. That's bullshit. It's bull. It really is. And the fact of the matter is sure, you can look to last week and say, oh, if he would have made the extra point, the Bears would have been in overtime. Sure, that one you could pin on him. But a 56-yard field goal, I mean, I'm sure he's made one of those, maybe two, but he's not a big leg kicker. He does not necessarily have the leg for that. You want to say he has a 58-yard range? Okay, sure. That's his length. That's his longest. That's in a controlled practice. Okay? What has he made in a game? How consistent has he been over 50? He's been good a short 50, 52, 53. That was his range. 56, I even thought that was pushing it before they even kicked it. And lo and behold, he came up this freaking close. So what does that tell you? They should not have freaking kicked that ball. It was a stupid call. And on top of that, they should have tried to run down some of the clock so that Atlanta couldn't have come back and kicked that field goal to end the half, mind you. So yeah, it's a 6-point swing, but 3 of those points are not on Cairo Santos, despite him missing 3 of those points, caught and that missed field goal being the result of that field goal. The Bears should have been able to protect themselves and been able to be like, hey, if he misses this field goal, guess what happens? They get the ball with very good field position, needing 25, 30 yards to kick their own field goal before half. And it doesn't seem like there's that long-term thinking. So that's the issue I have is it doesn't seem like the coaches necessarily know how to develop that winning culture because they don't know how to get a win. They don't know how to develop a win out of nothing. They don't have anything right now. And sure, you got Justin Fields, you got some weapons, you got good players, but you don't got good units. Okay. And when you don't have good units, it's going to take good coaching to get those wins. And you just don't see it happening. And I'm not trying to say Matt Eberflus is a bad coach. I'm not trying to say that Luke Getsy is a bad coordinator. I am going to say that they aren't at that point that they're great coordinators. They're not one of the coaches, they're not one of the coordinators that's going to be able to coach you into a win. They might be able to coach you up. They're not going to be able to coach you into the win. And to his credit, and to be fair, I'm not like I said, I'm not trying to knock the guy. I'm not trying to say he's bad, but this is his first year as a head coach. Luke Getsy, I'm pretty sure this is his first coordinating position. Pretty sure he was the Packers quarterbacks coach last year. So again, not trying to say these guys are terrible, not trying to knock them out of Chicago, but maybe this could be a learning year for them as well. And that's why I'm saying, hey, let Justin Fields sit, finish off the rest of this season, and just to make everybody else happy, you tank. You get those low draft picks because that's what everybody's talking about. High draft picks, my bad, because of your terrible record and you're able to bank a very good team. Or you could trade all your high end draft picks, get the lower end draft picks, and be able to get some good offensive linemen. Honestly, that's what I would do if I'm Chicago. Keep Justin Fields on the sidelines, and then I'm trading those higher end picks in the early rounds for later picks in those rounds, plus maybe additional picks in the later rounds. Like if they have the third overall pick, I'd be like, yeah, give me your 27th overall pick, but also give me the 54th overall pick as well, or maybe the 81st or something like that. Maybe a third, fourth round pick. I don't know, but in either case, that would be what I would do personally, because then you are setting yourself up for success, not just this year, but later on down the line. Maybe you get picks for later years. Who knows? It could all benefit Chicago. And the fact of the matter is they don't need the weapons. They need the offensive linemen. So having those high end picks doesn't necessarily matter. Okay. I hope I've spelled it out for you. I wanted to keep this closer to 10 minutes, but I guess that's not going to happen. If you disagree with me, let me know down in the comment section below. Remember, we are doing that giveaway at 25 subscribers, so make sure you turn on that notification for when that's going to happen. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications as well. Until next time, this has been TC with TC Talk.